Well, we're now joined by Bonnie Brownlee, who before becoming a royal advisor was an executive assistant to the Mulroneys. Bonnie, thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me.
You knew Mr. Mulroney very well. You were good friends with him for many years, not only a past employee, but a friend in this present day. What do you think it would have meant for the former Prime Minister to see all these dignitaries and these politicians to come out, to pay their respects, and to share what the man meant to them?
His smile would be this big if he could see the tributes and the flags at half-mast all across the country. You know, it's been really heartwarming, and I know he would love that. And I also know that he would have appreciated Elizabeth May's speech in the House of Commons this week, because it was so authentic and emotional. And it's sort of, for Brian, it would have meant a real sincerity about politics, and that he would have cared greatly about.
Cared greatly about. And I think the family has a sense of that, but I do wonder how they're doing. And you were with the Mulroney family, sadly, ever since Mr. Mulroney passed away.
Yes.
How are Mila and the kids doing right now?
You know, as a family, they're a force of nature. There's so many of them. You know, there's 4 kids, they're married, there's 16 grandchildren. And they've been a tight unit for a very long time, since those kids were all born. So they, you know, they want to do the best they can for Brian and for their father today. So they're proud. They want to celebrate him with the country, and they'll find their own time to grieve when we get, you know, past the funeral next weekend. But they're strong and they're funny. You know them. You know the Mulroney boys.
I do.
And you know, so they bring great laughter all the time into the room, and they talk about their father constantly. And Brian Mulroney will be a topic of conversation for this family till they all die. You know, he was larger than life, and they always felt that he was with them. And he still is. He's in that room over at lying in state. Like we feel him, and we're just so thrilled with the way the country has shown him this great respect.
Mm-hmm. You say that you feel him in the room. Mm-hmm. I also wonder how you're doing right now, because again, you were a friend of Brian Mulroney's. You're a friend of the family now, and have been for decades. How are you doing right now?
I think I don't really think that he's gone yet, because it's been a bit of a whirlwind since he passed, because we had to get into a state funeral and start to preparations because we were in Florida. So, you know, we took time, paperwork, getting him back to Canada. And I flew back with Mila and their son Ben. Yeah, I will miss him greatly as a friend and as just a good, kind man who actually cared about me as a person, and we had so many shared experiences together over 40 years. So we could sit down and just talk about everything and anything, and we talked a lot about the early days in politics. His memory was so sharp, and so that part of my life for sure is gone, because a lot of Brian's friends and contemporaries, they're gone too, right? So we're entering into a new era of politics.
Mm-hmm. A new era, although, you know, it's important to note, interesting to note, that when Mr. Mulroney passed away, we had premiers, mm-hmm. current politicians, cabinet ministers coming forward and sharing their stories of Brian Mulroney. And that's regardless of your political stripe. He spoke to everybody. What does it say to you, or what does that make you think of when you reflect on how he was able to reach to Canadians regardless of their background, regardless of their political beliefs, and everyone walks away and think, geez, what a nice guy, and aren't I appreciative of that conversation?
I think it was innate in him. He grew up that way. And his father died young, when Brian was young. Brian was about 25 when his father died. So he was the eldest and had to take on his siblings and his mother, educated all of them, housed them, helped them get jobs. He was a very good son and big brother. And he just continued that in life. I mean, even Mila's surprised today at the people that are telling her, you know, Brian called me when my mother died, or Brian helped me get a job, or he said, you know, he did this or he did that. He loved the phone. He loved networking. He was so comfortable in it. And he came to understand in the years after he left as Prime Minister, that people actually did appreciate those calls and that they wanted them. So he wasn't doing it to make himself feel better. He was doing it to make those people feel better. And I just think it's a marvelous capability to network like that to strangers.
Yeah, absolutely. And what strikes me about it is it seemed almost he reminded politicians that they were more than just a politician.
Yes.
He never lost sight of the fact that we are humans, and politicians in particular need to take care of their humanity.
Oh, he would agree with you 100% on that. Like he felt strongly that, you have to listen to people. That's why opposition leaders or premiers of a province of a different stripe, Brian talked to all of them, gave advice, sought their advice, had friendships with them, had dinners. He felt it was always important to have those relationships for the country to get better and for the country to grow. And he brought, enemies together, if you will, right? And because he was really a good negotiator. He knew how to get people to the table and to talk. I just think, I learned a lot from him about being a better person I tried to adapt some of his skills that he taught me, because I was 9 years with them, basically every day for 9 years. And it was just an extraordinary experience to watch him navigate and be fully aware of any situation he was in, whether it was political or professional or entertainment. He intertwined all three of those different types of areas.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, you have been very much involved in the planning of the state remembrances, not only the lying in state, but right up to the state funeral on Saturday. What do you hope these next days will capture for posterity?
I hope that people understand that political life matters and that engaging in the political process is a way to influence and be part of decisions that are made in your own country. And so I'm really happy to see this lovely outpouring because it says thank you to Brian. It is an era of politics and civility and that we're missing. To some extent, I'm not comparing Brian to the Queen, but when the Queen died, something left us as a country. We weren't really sure what it was. And I think for her it was safety, right, and civility as well. But and to encourage people to get engaged in politics, run for office, men or women, or whatever your gender may be, and participate in what's happening in your country. And I think that's what Brian would be so thrilled today, to see the kindness and the outpouring that's coming from all political stripes, all businesses, the roads, it's been a high road, and I'm so thrilled that, because he deserves this.
Bonnie, my condolences at the loss of your friend, but thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.